Yep.
Oh, now we're live.
So do you like that picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That looks good.
She got something to say.
No, I don't. Because
What?
if we're not looking this way, we're not on the camera. So, and we're going to be looking this way, talking to her.
And here's your camera. So you want to talk to the camera? This is the camera. This is secondary. I don't know if y'all want to use this or not at all.
Well, so we just have to tell her when she's talking.
We kind of
make sure we looking that way. Hey, y'all.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. We just trying to get it together.
So I'm just gonna try to make sure this is okay. So this is our.
Yeah, that's my drink. Get my drink. I'm gonna be drinking my drink on the camera.
This is our.
Got my Kool-Aid.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we're fine. No, it's fine. Because we already late anyway, so it's fine.
Good job. Good job. Here we go. So we're not recording one, we're just going live.
Yep.
We were recording too because we had the mics. So I mean, I don't know.
The mics are being
mics
recorded.
are going to the Canon.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I guess we're fine then.
Well, the mics are going into that, and we're recording into this, so you straight. Talk to me.
Lisa, go
Test
on.
one,
You
one,
down
two.
a little bit. Oh, is it? Hello,
one, two.
hello.
1 2 1 2.
Oh, this not going. Where is this going?
It's over here.
It was on the end of the table, so I could pull it down.
Yeah.
I was trying to get both of us on the Instagram camera.
I was about to say.
Oh, okay. You got the.
You can't turn this
You're not
sideways, huh?
Nah, you'll be sideways. The audience will be like, "Oh,
yeah, you gonna get y'all, but you ain't gonna get her."
Not on that.
Okay, well.
And the one thing I noticed about Instagram is, as we get further into it, the volume, the sound goes in and out.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I watched it back on Instagram, and it's cool at first, but then it just started.
I ain't watching.
We go back up and down, up and down.
So,
Testing 1 2.
you just need to be pointing to your mouth.
Okay.
You ain't gotta be on it. You just need to be pointing.
I'll be on it all night long. I'll be on it every day.
Yeah.
Straight up pimping.
And tell her the same thing.
In the A.
Yeah.
Just that. She can have it.
Okay, now you got to tell me how to get on here again. I got to share it, huh?
Live.
Well, I go to the ladies' den first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, put this somewhere else.
ladies' den.
Ladies Den.
Just 10 minutes.
710.
Okay, so I go to the ladies' den. It's not showing that we're live.
Refresh your page.
I just
Like,
did.
you showing up live, right?
Look, it's not showing that we're live.
Is this one phone that you're gonna need?
Mine, yeah. It's not showing that we're live. I'm on the ladies' den page.
Yeah, I just went to it.
What? There it is. It took a minute to show up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I do with it?
Then scroll down a little bit. Boom. Boom. And then go back to your personal page and then just share it up there. Post it, I mean.
How you doing?
What I'm doing, posting? Just pasting?
Paste. Come on in, lady.
Hi.
Type in "we are live" if you want to, but then just hit next.
Okay, sure. I'm going to get it together.
You got it.
I'm going to get it together. Hey, beautiful. What's going on, honey? Oh, we got to get you a wine. You want wine tonight?
It's been one of them days.
Oh, you need a glass of wine. You need a glass
I'ma
of
tell
wine.
you,
Hey
this-
y'all, we running a
this
little
is-
behind, but we about to get started.
This
in a
12% now.
Oh Lord, she just need a little bit.
You,
yeah,
you
just
just
a
need
little bit.
you need a shot glass.
Little shot glass. Yeah.
Hey, you just need a shot glass.
We get this fine strong man to get this bottle open for us.
That woman know what you're doing.
You play too much.
I'm joking.
You play
do
too
it?
much.
Do you want me to do it?
You can go. You can do it.
Just because you said it, I'm gonna get on camera.
Come on, get on the camera.
Come on, open up this bottle of Ladies' Night Out from Corson's Winery.
You don't do it with the wings up.
Shouts out
Oh
to
yeah, you don't do it with the wings up.
You
Now I know
always
that.
You always do wings down. As you
Oh, we don't
twist
need
it,
these.
the wings go up.
I know.
Oh, you had the wings up.
Cause I took it out my bag and just gave it to you.
Oh.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Look.
Shall
Bam!
I pour it for you, ladies?
Shouts out to
I like your tutorial. I like the tutorial.
shouts out
Real
to Mika's
serious.
Wine on Wheels.
Lean the
Oh, we're
glasses
gonna talk
in.
about this wine
Mika.
now.
This
He's
is
making me excited.
this is
Yes.
grape, 12% alcohol.
Grape.
This is called Ladies' Night Out.
Oh,
Is that today or the wine?
Both.
look at that, y'all. We got this
Both.
nice, fine gentleman
Both.
pouring
of
our
'em.
wine for us.
Both of 'em.
Mr. Anthony called,
Turn your volume
weld photographer, designer, you name it. He's a jack of all trades, videographer.
and then just cork it.
Oh, your book.
Yeah, but I put some facts in here if you need to read off some stuff.
Oh, you
I
Okay.
did a restaurant for 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Extensive wine classes.
Okay.
He was serious about that wine.
I'm
Okay.
telling you to turn
If you
your
don't take
volume
that
down.
glass when you pour, you get in trouble.
Really?
Surviving. Oh, I gotta read
Yes,
this.
a little label, yes.
So, welcome to the den, y'all. Don't be flirting. Get up out of here.
Do you want to record on this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We rolling.
Uh-huh.
All right. We rolling.
Okay, first we're gonna talk about this one. Well, first of all, hello everybody, and welcome to the Ladies' Den.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
We're gonna have such exciting tonight, but
Yes.
it's serious stuff we talking about.
Yes.
Serious stuff.
Yes.
So tonight we have our guest from last week, Miss Natalie Purdy, who's a domestic violence advocate and survivor.
Yes.
So she told us her story last week, but we're going to get her to tell that story again for the newcomers. We're going to make it a little short,
Just
but
a
we're going
little
to
recap.
just a little
And then
recap.
continue.
So then we're going to finish talking about domestic violence, and we're going to ease our way into sex and human trafficking, because those two coincide, little do people know.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about both of those things. But as you know, here on the Ladies' Den, we feature a wine, a different wine.
Mhm.
Preferably, we try to get Black-owned companies
Mhm.
to give us some wine,
Yes.
so we can drink.
Mhm.
So this week's, I'm gonna let Nisa tell you about the wine.
So this week's wine is brought to you by Corson's Winery. They are in Sparta, Georgia.
Okay.
And this one is called Ladies' Night Out. It's a grape wine.
A great wine.
12% alcohol, y'all. So this ain't
Ooh.
nothing to play with.
12%. Okay.
This comes to us by one of my TLA sisters, Miss Tamika McClendon. The name of her company is Wine on Wheels.
Oh, okay.
You can follow her on Instagram. And she has lots and lots of options. I actually bought one when she brought this one today. I got one that's made out of jackfruit.
Oh wow.
That I can't wait to open.
Oh, we'll be.
She has cranberry.
We'll be featuring her a lot.
Everything, yes.
I can see we'll be featuring her a lot.
Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you,
Tamika, thank you from Corson's Winery.
Yes.
Wine on Wheels.
And we need to go to. She's invited us to go to Sparta.
Well, we can come
to
out
go
there
to
and
the
do,
winery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, guess what? Y'all too. We're gonna be going to Corson's Winery
Mhm.
to do our podcast.
Field trip.
So
Oh,
let me
this is-
taste
yes.
it. Let me taste it.
This is
I like
really
it.
good. I like it.
I do too.
What you think? It's not dry.
If I'm being honest,
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but for me, there's a little aftertaste after it that I don't like.
What the little sweetness?
It's more like not dry, but it's
Oh, I know what
like
you're saying.
almost like a wood taste a little
I
bit,
know
like
what
a
you're talking
cedar or
about.
something.
Yes,
You
mhm.
taste
Mhm.
it?
I
Okay.
taste it,
See,
but
I'm
I
not
like it.
crazy,
You know, well,
but I
look,
love it, but I
taste
don't
it.
like the aftertaste of this. But I
Okay.
do love the original
Mhm.
Oh,
taste to the
taste of
palate.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Once you swallow, you get that little cedar wood or some type of wood.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I taste
I
that.
know
but
my
I like
wines,
that.
y'all. I do go to wine tastings and wineries a lot. I know my wines. I know what I taste.
Okay,
I can taste.
okay.
They tell you how to taste it. Yeah.
Well, I like the
But it's
woodsy
good.
taste.
I like
do
it. I
like
like
the taste.
it.
Different.
I like it. It is. It's very different. I like it.
It'd be
And-
great if we had some cheese. We
oh,
have
I
to.
just ate some cheese and sausage and
should have
got
got
crackers.
y'all
to-
little.
I just ate it. I'm sorry.
We're gonna
I
have to
ate it,
start
y'all.
bringing in charcuterie.
Yeah, charcuterie
Mhm.
boards.
Board.
Yes. For you charcuterie
forgetting.
board makers out there, we will
We're
advertise your
trying to-
business.
Yeah.
You can make
Yes.
it's only two of us, unless we have a guest, it's maybe three.
Yeah.
But you can make us a little charcuterie board. We'll advertise. We get some free food. You get some free advertisement for a month. I mean, I'm just
I'm
saying.
just saying. Just saying.
So yeah, charcuterie people, I need y'all send y'all some food.
Nothing.
Okay.
I was saying your paper.
Oh yeah.
The
What you
second-
want me to read?
Bam.
Well, first of all, we're gonna let you just
Yes,
do a
you
brief
can be looking that up
recap
while I'm talking.
of
Mhm.
of your story, and then from there we'll go into the sex and human trafficking.
Yeah.
So y'all welcome Miss Natalie Purdy to the den, and she's
you.
really gonna tell you guys about signs and things that you can look for in your friends and family, if they've been trafficked or if they're going down that road of trafficking, like somebody's trying to get them to do these things, and tell you signs and symptoms to look for some of our family and friends that's dealing with domestic violence or have been a part of domestic violence. And there's ways that you can watch them and see they're giving off certain signs. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to our family because they get on our nerves. You don't like them today, but you love them tomorrow. And you don't pay attention. So we're going to talk about signs, ways to acknowledge it, how to help. Miss Natalie's going to tell you about places you can go for women and men. Again,
Right.
domestic violence is just not women. We have some crazy women out there.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a good way. So we have women out there that are doing the same thing to men that men are doing to women. So it's not one-sided. So I'm gonna let Miss Natalie go ahead. Miss Natalie, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having me
welcome.
back.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. I'm so excited to be back. And so let me just say, okay, I'm trying to figure out where I want to start at. So we'll go back to talking about the signs.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, a lot of times, they don't even know that they're being abused.
Right.
They don't see themselves as a
Mhm.
victim. They don't see themselves in a domestic violence relationship or an intimate partner relationship,
Mhm.
violence relationship.
Mhm.
They really don't think, because a lot of times you're in love
Right.
and it may be something different.
Mhm.
And so you kind of dismiss it. Well, I'm not used to this, but maybe
Mhm.
that's just the way that
That he
is.
shows love or something.
Yeah. And then we go into, well, when I was in this past relationship, and you never want to really compare
Right.
the people. So you kind of give them more leeway
Mhm.
on things that may not really feel good, may not feel right. And then you also factor in, oh, well, he told me he had a bad childhood.
Mm.
Or he told me the last relationship was really bad and this girl did him so wrong. And
Mhm.
so maybe that's why he's reacting acting like that.
Right.
We start to factor in so many different things. Oh, he lost his job. He can't keep a job. So maybe it's because his money is not right. So he kind of feels kind of bad because I make more money or I'm more educated. So many things factor into us dismissing it, sweeping it under the carpet.
Yep.
And a lot of times what they do is they make you think that it's your fault or you're crazy. And again, you dismiss it for all of these reasons.
Yep.
And again, because you love that person, you're hoping that they change.
Yep.
And so last week I was talking about how I was dating someone. I was young. I was a teenager, really didn't have the experience, never knew about what signs to look for. The signs that I would have looked for, he didn't possess, which would have been raising his voice, verbal abuse,
being aggressive,
being very aggressive, being physically aggressive.
Right.
I had none of those things. In fact, he was the opposite. He was such a perfect gentleman. But at the same time, he never got angry. I never saw him mad. We never had a disagreement. The times that I was like, oh, I know this will make him mad. Not like I was trying to do it on purpose, but I was like, this would be the time that naturally anyone human would be a little upset.
Right.
He didn't. I swept that under the carpet by saying he's older, so he's more mature. And he doesn't let these things bother him. Little did I know that it was festering. It was bottling up. The times that he should have been expressing his emotions, he was just bottling it up. And it didn't explode until he felt like I was going to break it off with him. And I can't be in that mindset. I don't know what people think in that mindset. But I think if I had to guess, it'd be like, oh, I let everything slide and now you want to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do know from his history, anytime someone tries to leave is when he snaps.
Oh, wow.
So there's some kind of abandonment issue that he has. And again, that goes back to the power and control. And so maybe I can let things slide, but if you leave, that's me relinquishing my power and control. And I can't have that. And so if you're going to leave, I'm going to make sure that one of two things happen. I'm going to try to kill you. So if I can't have you, no one will.
Right.
And if you survive, I'm going to maim you enough that the wounds and the scars will make people think, maybe I don't need to be with her. Right. And then the internal emotional wounds and scars will make you where you won't want to be in another relationship. You will not want to trust anyone, So in that relationship, as I was trying to break it off, we were having a conversation and I thought everything was fine, and he act like he understood, and he act like the same normal person, having compassion and understanding, and okay, I'll get ready to leave. And just as I was going to walk him to the door is when I turned around and realized that he had his hand in the air. I knew he was going to strike me. But when I looked in his hand, I saw that it wasn't a fist. The fist was wrapped around the scissors, and he started stabbing me. And so when he started stabbing me, I was just like, I just started screaming, I'll marry you. I'll marry you. Just anything that I could do to try to get him to stop. Jesus. And it was like he couldn't hear me. He didn't hear me. And he just continued on. And fast forward, my injuries consisted of a fractured skull with a blood tumor on my brain. The blood tumor also paralyzed my eye muscles and paralyzed my whole left side of my body. And thank God that was just temporarily. And then he also, I also had post traumatic seizures
No, it's good.
and
Yeah.
short term memory. Well, it's short term, long term type memory.
Okay.
And I would also always have migraines for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. Let me just say quick for those who are just tuning in, we are talking about domestic violence with domestic violence survivor Natalie Purdy and domestic violence advocate. So what you guys just heard, she was telling us her story
Yeah.
um, of how things happen and how she became a victim. So you go ahead.
Okay. And I apologize. I should have made the statement of trigger alert. So if anyone has experienced it and the things that we'll be talking about tonight could be a trigger, we just say, take care of yourself first and foremost. That's the most important thing. So if you need to check out, tune off, whatever you have to do
Yeah.
in order to take care of yourself mentally as well as physically.
Okay.
And so so last week we were talking and we were talking about how he got away with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward, I go on to live my life and hoping that I was the last victim.
Right.
I kind of knew that I wasn't the first,
Yeah,
but
go
I was
ahead.
hoping that I was the last.
Natalie, he's
Mhm.
just gonna switch your mic around because
Work
we
it
can't see
out.
because we
I
can't see your face.
You want to see my face?
Oh.
No, on here.
Of
the
course we
mic
want to see your
stand.
face.
You know, this mic stand was like making me a little slimmer.
Yeah.
So, like,
So you
now I
think.
gotta really.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, okay.
It was. I just
I gotta suck it in now.
It was blocking your
Look,
face, so
look,
they
look,
couldn't
They
see
gotta know who
you.
you is,
Let
man.
me slide.
There you go.
Woo!
Yeah, thank
so
you.
much. Thank
I wanna
you.
move this crack so I don't keep making
It don't, shall
that.
we? I know it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. All right.
So you were saying that, yeah. Last week we ended you guys with the fact that he got away. So you
Yeah.
thought he got away.
I thought
Right.
he got away, and then that's when an investigator found me and told me that he had done it again, and that they were looking to prosecute him to the fullest extent. And she also explained to me that there were other victims after me.
Oh wow.
Not just the victim,
Jesus.
the present victim, but
Right.
other ones before her. And when I heard that, I just like my heart sank and I felt so, so bad. And so from that point,
Okay. All right, Deb.
once I realized that, I always knew that I needed to speak up about what happened. At the same time, I was silenced. And the reason that I was silenced was because I felt like if he could do that to me,
Yeah.
I did everything in my power to press charges, to testify. My grandmother testified. Like we did everything and he got away with it. And I just felt like if I had died, then it would have made a difference.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I thought because I lived, that's how they treated me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even through the trial, it was like, you lived. You're right.
Oh wow.
And one thing I want to say to any victims, no matter what the crime is, I want to say don't give up. And do know that it's a game. It's a strategy in this. It's a strategy with the victims and the perpetrators. And when I tell you what the game is, you're going to recognize it right off. But it's something that's overlooked so often. Victims already are victimized.
Right.
In so many ways, emotionally, physically, psychologically, victim blamed, trying to heal in so many different ways and forms, and trying to figure out how to get your life back on track and do all of this. And then, I always say, if you got to talk about it, you got to relive it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they don't want to relive it. They're like, if I can just
forget about it.
it,
Yeah.
then
It'll go away.
It'll go, which it will never.
It'll never
Right.
go
It will
away.
never. And I'm here to tell you, I don't care who you are, I don't care what therapy you have, it will never go away. So the way to cure it is to get in front of it, to speak up, to speak out, because you could be helping someone else to not be a victim, regardless if they get away with it.
But do you think that some of the reasons why so much is not being reported because of the reason of, like, he got away?
Absolutely. Absolutely. People definitely don't want to talk about it. They're ashamed. So many things. It's like, no, I don't want to. Sometimes you're the only one fighting.
I got it.
You're the only
I
one
get it.
fighting.
Yeah.
The prosecutor told me, she said, so many times I have victims of sexual assault and they come to court by themselves.
Yeah. There's
Wow.
No support.
No support. She told me that they have to have them come and wait in a room to make sure that everyone's there for the assailant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody's there for him. Oh no, he didn't mean it. She's lying. Everybody's there, so they have to hold the victim, wait and make sure that they're all gone, and then walk her to her car because there's nobody there.
Oh, wow.
Or if
crazy.
she got to take the bus or however she got there, whatever kind of mode of transportation, but she's alone. Now, here's the strategy. If I'm bringing you to court and I go the first time, and I already have my lawyer who's also knows the strategy,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing he's going to do, what do you think it is? Like, I'm going to test you, ladies. So first thing he's going to do when you get to court the first time, this is the hearing. Okay, he's pleading not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Apologize to you.
oh, absolutely not.
Oh.
He said not guilty.
Oh.
He's not apologizing.
Wow.
First thing he's going to do is, as his lawyer, is going to ask for a continuance.
Why?
It's a strategy. You'll get tired.
And you won't show
You'll get
up.
tired. You'll say, I'm not coming back.
Get frustrated.
They'll say things to you or about you that frustrate you and make you feel some kind of way. And they'll say these things and word it in a way to victim blame you.
So, in other words, just to
Wow.
say that it was your fault.
Yes. So the first time they're going to ask they're definitely going to ask for continuance, depending on if you have any visual wounds. So the first time I went to court, I don't remember if I had a wheelchair, but I knew I wasn't walking stable enough.
Okay.
I had a patch on my eye, and the scars were very visible.
So they want to wait until you heal.
We want to wait. Yes. So we'll continue it. And then they continue it. And then they continue it. And they continue it.
But how are they allowed to do that, though?
Because
That's the strategy.
that's the strategy. And a lot of times the lawyers know what to say of why I need a continuance.
Right.
Your Honor, I like a continuance because we don't have her hospital records.
Right.
Oh,
You know we was coming to court.
yeah.
Mhm.
Why you don't have it?
So I need a continuance.
Right.
Okay. Now maybe the next time I come back, Your Honor, we are trying to subpoena some witnesses or whatever, and we need some more evidence. Can we have another continuance?
Mhm.
Well, that continuance is based on not just the prosecuting attorney,
Mm-hmm.
but also the judge. It's based on all three people, their calendars.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
So it could be
whatever
6
the next
months
date
out.
is. Right. Right.
Wow.
That's why we're looking at. I'm a court TV junkie,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at a lot of these cases, and it happened in 2020, murder, and they're just going to trial now, and it's 2023.
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah.
Because by the time they finally got it and they arrested them and they did all this and they got it on a docket and then they got the prosecuting attorney and then they want to build up their case before they get to court. So they've built it up, and then the other attorney is trying to make sure that what do you have? What do you have?
Mm-hmm.
And as you start certain things, you have to present to the court. You can't
Mhm.
just spring it on them. So once you spring that up, I got to try and find a defense against that.
Right.
How many? I know this might be a hard question, but how many times did he stab you?
Over 30 times. Yes.
Oh.
So he
So that wasn't enough for them.
no.
Mm-mm.
So what he did was he stabbed me in my face. So he cut my whole nose open. To God be the glory, how they sewed it right up underneath.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
can't even
'cause-
tell.
yeah,
yeah.
If you
you
feel it, you
cannot
can. But
tell.
yes, God, yes,
Up close and
he
personal.
will change those scars.
Yes, he
boy,
will.
and
Yes,
heal
he
those
will.
wounds. Yes. He
Yes.
stabbed me behind my ear.
Mhm.
And it was like close to my jugular. He stabbed my lips. He stabbed me on the side of my face. And then he stabbed my hands.
Yeah, I
These
saw your
were-
hands. You can
yes.
see it in your hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like your face, they did an excellent job with
Yes,
healing that because you
did.
cannot
They
tell.
did.
No scars.
Wow, but I would think that stabbing you over 30 times would be enough for any judge.
Mhm.
You would think.
Like, what more do you want? You know, he stabbed me this many times. I come into court, I got an eye patch, I got something here,
Yes.
something there.
Yes.
I'm all,
Yes. All
Taped
mangled
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
and you still
Yep.
don't believe me?
Yeah. Just yep. No.
That
let
is
him go home.
crazy.
Yeah. Maybe he
Wow.
learned his lesson. Don't do that anymore. That's basically was a little slap on the wrist.
That's basically what they did.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So what got him?
Right.
So on this, me, God, thank you, Lord. Oh, my Savior. I tell you, He said, "Vengeance is mine."
Amen.
So with the final victim, here we go. It's gonna be graphic. She was breaking up with him.
Uh-huh.
She had broken up with him,
Okay.
Boy.
and I know from what I learned, he was steadily calling, and she was pacifying him.
Oh.
Mm.
And so most people be like, why wouldn't you? Why would you? Why would you still be talking to him?
Right.
She'd already seen him angry before.
Oh, which you
Mm.
hadn't.
I had not. She'd already seen him angry before and knew how to manipulate the system.
Mm.
So when he would call, she'd be like, "Hey, I'm busy."
Mm.
I think sometimes she was lying and saying, "Hey, I got company."
Mm-hmm.
Right? At the time she was separated, so she was making him think she'd gotten back with the husband.
Oh.
So she was like, "Look, I'm back with my husband. I can't talk to you."
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Separated. I can't. We can't talk. Not yes. However, he was watching.
Watching her from where? A camera or something in the house?
I guess parked outside
Or
her
just
house.
parked.
Oh, parked outside of her. Oh, wow.
So you're saying you have company?
I don't see nobody.
You ain't got no company.
Oh my
Mm.
God. Oh, girl.
So you keep on just pacifying them.
Mhm.
Excuse me, not right now, not today. Or, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I want to
Mhm.
see you, but I can't. Again, trying to let him down easy.
Right.
Mhm.
Like maybe he'll go away, maybe he'll leave me alone. So this one particular night, he was parked at her house, but he was parked further down, and she didn't see him. So I guess she came from a different direction,
Mm-hmm.
and she pulled up. And as she was going in,
Uh-huh.
he called her name.
Mm-hmm.
And once she saw him down the street, she was like, "Oh no, I already know from before, and I know nobody's in the house.
Right.
If you get me in the house,
Yeah. That's it.
that's it." So she ran back to her car. She jumped in her car. He got in his car. She drove off,
Mm-hmm.
sped off, thought she lost him.
Mm-hmm.
She was at a red light. He came speeding, bam, rammed her car so hard he took the bumper off.
Oh my God.
Oh, he really wanted her.
Yes. And you know how if you're sitting there for like with that impact and the shot.
Yeah.
So he came, he grabbed the door, he broke the door open. And when he did, she started fighting him. She started screaming, fighting him. "Get off of me! What are you doing?" This was late at night,
Mm-hmm.
and so she's fighting him. and he's grabbing her back.
Mm-hmm.
And as he did so, he grabbed her by her face and started trying to gouge out her eyes.
Oh my God.
Oh, he
Ugh.
was crazy.
Yes. So as he's trying to gouge out her eyes, his hands were right by her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So she bit his pinky. And
Mhm.
she just bit down to finally he had to let her go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That only
Made
enraged the
him-
monster worse.
Mhm.
Wow.
Because it was like, I dare you bite me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he grabbed her and pulled her towards him and he bit her. He bit her cheek
Oh
Oh,
Jesus.
wow.
and he bit it down. And he admitted that he did not let go until he bit down to the bone,
Oh wow.
the size of a $50.
What?
I'm glad you got away from him when you did, because had you
Exactly.
not, it could have been worse.
Way
Yes.
worse. Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
Because can you imagine being married to somebody like that and then you're stuck?
Yeah.
And so so he bit her and then he spat it on the ground, her cheek. He spat it on the
What?
ground.
Oh.
Yes. And then he jumped in the car and I don't know if she jumped in the car first or he did. I don't know that part. But I know she ended up getting back in her car and she drove up the street to a 7-Eleven, to a convenience store.
Uh-huh.
And when she got there, they called the ambulance. When the police came onto the scene, they went back and they were able to get the skin
Mm-hmm.
for surgery, as well as the bump on her car and all that,
Yeah,
to see the
to
whole
see
scene
the whole
and everything.
scene. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so from there, they went to go arrest him. He had went home.
Of
But that was the
course.
same thing he did when he stabbed me. Remember, he just went home.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so he just went home. Like, okay. Mhm. Yeah, he went home. And so what he did was he pleaded
Very.
insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's insane. Man.
He said that it was because of the military. He had PTSD.
Mm.
And that was why he attacked her. So at the time, before they found me, they were looking at giving him 5 years. I know.
That's it.
That's it. 5 years. The
For
max.
that.
For that.
No.
And so once they found me and they started putting all of the pieces together, there was one problem.
What?
When he attacked me, he wasn't in the military.
Correct.
Oh.
Correct.
So you can't blame that on PTSD.
Yes.
Mm.
You're just evil.
You're just
Right.
crazy.
Yes.
Right.
Mm.
And so once I testified, that was that nail in the coffin.
Wow.
And so that's when the judge said 35 years as it stands. Yes.
Yes.
No parole.
That still ain't enough for me.
It's
Still
not,
not
but-
enough. But most people don't even get that with murder.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful.
So how many victims were there?
2 more that I know of that they said.
So
you know.
4 total.
Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
What do you think that could cause the man? I know we kind of talked about it, but
Mhm.
what do you think that could cause a man to do this?
I don't know.
I know, but we kind of talk
Like I know it's
childhood stuff, like
yes,
maybe seeing mom,
mental
yeah,
issues
yeah.
that were never resolved, never addressed.
Mhm.
A lot of, let me tell you, I just saw yesterday. I saw someone
I did my
else's
banner. It didn't
someone
show
else
up. Go
someone
ahead.
had a podcast
Mhm.
and they were talking about a man a young guy, young 20, 21. He was young, 28 maybe, whatever his age was. He had killed these 2 women.
Jeez.
It was his, the mother of his
I was
children
blocking the picture.
and her sister.
That's all right.
And they were saying how his mother was so upset and saying that it was still the young lady's fault. And a lot of times what it is it goes back to what I said before. people are in domestic violence relationships and they have children,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really thinking about the effects that it will have on the children. And so boys who witness domestic violence will go on most likely to be perpetrators themselves.
Yep.
And so then when they're the perpetrator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have these young ladies and they beat them and they kill them.
Mm-hmm.
The mother, this is all she knew.
Mm-hmm.
So she condones
She didn't
it.
see anything wrong.
She doesn't see anything wrong. If anything, this girl caused it.
Right.
And had she not done this, my son would not be going through this.
Exactly.
And so in my situation, his mother basically said the same thing. Yes, they did an interview with me. And that very next night, she did an interview to say, she didn't address me. She just addressed the most recent victim. She wanted to act like we're not going to talk
you
about.
You weren't in the room.
We ain't gonna, I was not in that
According to
room.
her.
Yes, I was
As far
not.
as she was
there.
concerned.
As far as she was concerned, she only wanted to address the most recent victim, and she said she wanted to speak to parents to let them know if they have children in the military and they have PTSD, to please get them some help.
This ain't had nothing to do with
But you see how she flipped it, like, oh no, it wasn't my son's fault. It was PTSD. It was the military. He had lost his mind for a minute. As a matter of fact, she said that my son called me that morning.
Mm-hmm.
She said he called her that morning and said, Mama, before he did this that morning, he said, Mama, I think I have PTSD and I need help. And then he called the VA hospital.
Trying to cover his tracks.
Don't you know? He said, I'm going to get in front of it this time. Not going to wait till afterwards. Because see, with me, he waited till afterwards and then he checked himself in the mental hospital. So this time he said, oh, I got the coverage and I got the excuse. So before I go to address her, before I go to attack her, I'm going to call the VA. So he called the VA, and we all know what the VA is. Even if you call your regular primary doctor, you're not getting an appointment the same day.
Right, you're not. You're not. Unless something is seriously wrong. And then they'll tell you to go to the emergency room.
We all know that. The only other way, they would say you can come in the office, you can sit, and if we have a cancellation, you'll be seen. But you'll be here all day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so what happened was he called the VA and they told him to whatever date they gave him or call back or whatever it was. But it was like, well, he called the VA and they couldn't give him an appointment until a month out or weeks later. So how convenient was that?
Yeah.
So I guess once she comes back, we can talk about this is Sexual Awareness Month.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
Yes, as well as National Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Okay, we'll talk about that. But what we need to talk about is that email you got before you left last week.
The email. Yes. Yeah. So
as we were ending our show, and for anybody that's just tuning in, we are talking, this is part 2 of domestic violence with domestic violence survivor Natalie Purdy and domestic violence advocates. And we were leaving the show, when we were ending the show last week, she received an email, and strangely, she would receive it on the day that we're doing this topic. Yes. But she's going to tell you all about the email that she received at the end of the show.
Yes.
End of the show.
No, at the end of the last show.
Yeah.
Yes.
She received it while we were on our way out the door.
Yes.
Y'all got to excuse me. I'm snacking because I'm hungry.
And where's my sandwich, man?
You got to make it.
Okay.
I just brought like stuff.
Okay.
It was hot. It's cold now.
Don't worry about it.
Hey, can you give me 3 napkins, baby, please? We're putting you to work.
I love this show.
I did break. Yeah, our show is uncensored, uncut. I brought y'all some cake. So, yes.
Then if you're bringing the cake,
no, because you gotta make a sandwich.
Go ahead, then.
Listen, you know this is our show. We do what we wanna do. Oh, you can't have my crackers. I want my crackers. That's your cheese, your mustard, and your mayonnaise. Your mayonnaise. But so she's looking for the email that
Yes.
was sent to her on last Thursday. And again, I just thought it was so strange that she got it on the day that we were talking about
so ironic.
domestic violence and talking
Yes.
about his ass.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Literally. So
did I pass it?
y'all on the ladies' den, we eat, we drink, we do it all. This is our show, and we could do what we want.
So, right.
So while I'm looking for it,
I'm hungry.
I also want to talk about what we talked about at the end of the show when I was talking to Lady K.
Yes.
What we talked about.
You were out of
You
the
were
room.
out of the room.
Oh, okay. I missed something, y'all.
You
But
did,
again,
and I found the email.
for
so.
my guests that are just tuning in, we are speaking with domestic violence advocate and survivor Natalie Purdy. You probably have missed her story, but you can always go back and watch our broadcast because we do air it right after we're finished. So you can go back and watch. Before this show is over, Natalie's also going to tell you. We also talked about signs to look for your from your friends and family, so you can be aware and kind of maybe think, okay, well, they might be into something, so I need to have a conversation with them.
Right.
She's also going to tell you about places you can go, places you can find help, phone numbers, all that stuff. And Nisa and I have those things that she just gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, throughout every now and then throughout our podcast, we'll post, certain things, and we're definitely Natalie is our buddy, so we're gonna have her back when we do mental health awareness. So we're gonna talk about that, and when we talk about that, we'll give this information because a lot of this involves mental health, believe it or not. So yeah, so that's what we're discussing. She's gonna finish telling you about the domestic violence. Thank you, baby. And then we're gonna run into sex and human trafficking, which they both coincide.
Okay, so Lady K, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
What y'all was
I'm
talking
trying to
about?
remember. We were okay. So
Y'all left me
Okay,
out.
so we were
No,
talking.
you were
It
wild.
was
I
the
know.
same thing from the beginning of the show that I talked about, where people don't realize that they are victims.
right.
Oh,
So what I had said was
what I had said.
when we no, because you said make sure you tell this part when we get back next week. So when we were first talking about domestic violence, kind of talking about examples, experiences, I was originally thinking I knew kind of what domestic violence was because I'd seen people in situations, but I myself didn't have any personal experience. But then when you were telling your story and giving like definitions and this and that, and then we had the definitions from the information that
I still have
documentation that we had last week. I was like, okay, why is she telling my story though? Like I never felt like I was a domestic violence victim.
Oh wow!
In any way, because and one thing I was sharing is that my situation was more mental, psychological than anything. Because my thing was when me and my now ex-husband, on the financial side, I made more than him, but I met him during a time when I was like in church, church home, husband is head of household, no matter whatever. So even though I made more money, I never put that over him. When it came to education, I was kind of there, but I never put that over him. That was never out of my mouth because I always respected him as my husband, my head of household. But I guess somewhere it bothered him. I didn't know anything about it, but behind closed doors, first of course we're lovey-dovey, but eventually his representative went away and the real him showed up. So behind closed doors, I got to a point to where it wasn't so much as like, at the end of the day, I didn't want to go home just because I didn't want to go home. I was almost scared to go home.
Oh
Because
wow.
I didn't know what kind of day he had, if he was going to take that out on me. And his thing was, what goes on behind closed doors stays here.
But we also talked about that
We
too,
did.
because you were raised that way as a child,
Right.
Yes.
And so I'm from a big family. I'm still living in Texas at that point. So my folks are just right around the corner, some of them up the street. My mom and everybody wasn't far away at all. I'm used to calling them, talking to them on the phone about whatever. He was even, because he comes from kind of a large family. He's from Louisiana, I'm from Texas.
Okay.
So it was nothing for us to be around a group of my folks at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to the point to where he basically was like, you don't tell our business to nobody. And he knew who the people were that I was talking to, friends and family. So anything that happened behind closed doors, I got to the point I wasn't saying nothing to nobody. Nobody knew that there was anything wrong that was going on, and we were in public. We were the happy couple, lovey-dovey. And if I did slip up, the thing that made me really stop trying to sneak and say something is I would sneak, say something I would say something, and then like one of my friends would slip up in a group setting and mention something that only he and I was supposed to know about. And then when I got home, I got it. Not with the fist, but with that mouth. What I tell you about that? And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. Lord, that's when I really started praying, Lord, what have I gotten myself into? But then towards the end, when everything finally ended, I found out that one of my so-called friends that I thought was a good girlfriend of mine, he had somehow approached her. I don't know. I'm speculating that I don't know if he thought he approached her as if to say, I'm trying to figure out what Kay is, doing, how she's, feeling, how she's acting. I'm thinking that that's how he kind of approached her with it. But they have been having discussions on the phone without my knowledge. And this is back when it was house phones. Everybody didn't have a cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beepers. That was deep.
Yeah.
Because you're on the house
phone. Yeah.
But see, she was my friend already. And we had already gotten married. We already had the wedding. Well, you know what I mean. We had already had the wedding. She was in the wedding. So for her to call my house, it was nothing.
Oh yeah, you're thinking, okay, she's talking to him.
Because, I didn't care.
Yeah.
That was my friend.
Yes.
Come to find out towards the end, she when everything finally ended, she made some comments to me that I thought were kind of weird, but I just kind of brushed them off. And so finally she admitted, well, he had been calling me, and just kind of counseling to see, what was going on. And because he had been telling her when I would hang out with this other friend or that other friend, and she would come to me and be like, now, you just going to leave home and leave him at the house like that? I mean, what you think what's going to happen? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know I even left? Because I didn't tell you. I wasn't going to hang with you.
She is the weak.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so ever since once she told me,
bitch, why you in my business?
No, I wasn't. I was so already dealing with the mess that me and him was in, and trying to get myself into a different space, like to go hang out with other people to get away from it. When she said that, like I said, I heard it for a second. I was like, huh? And then just kept on going, because I was like, I wasn't even trying to, I wasn't even really, I heard her, but I didn't hear her.
Oh, I would have heard every word she said.
But
she would have heard.
But once she
especially back in them days, I would have been like, first of all, why you in my damn business? And how you know my business anyway? And then I'd have been like,
But then when the one time I did ask her, like, what did you say? Why did you say? How did you know? She was like, oh, girl, don't worry about it. Never mind. But then once she admitted to me, they had been chit chatting all that whole time. I cut her off. I was like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Well, you know,
Mm-mm.
and a lot of times in those circumstances, they'll find a friend that's the weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
They'll find somebody. They may even sleep with that person or whatever it is, but it's also that person's going to always go to bat for them. Even with your other friends, you know. So when things go wrong and he say, well, you know why I had to leave her or whatever it is, she'll be that one and say, oh yeah. And when your other friends say, oh no, he's wrong, she'll be that friend and say, oh yeah, I don't know, like I know.
Right.
Y'all don't know the things that I know. Y'all don't know what she's been doing.
If you go to your Facebook page, I just tagged you in the post so you can pull it up that way.
Okay,
so that way you'll be able to see it.
Okay, stay tuned, you guys.
Yeah.
Somebody texted me and was like, go on live on your page.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just did it. I just tagged you. Do you see it?
I'll see it in 1 second.
Yeah.
So before we even go to my page, I'll go to the email.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that we can
see the email. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, for those of you that are just joining in, this is part 2 of domestic violence and sex and human trafficking with domestic violence survivor and advocate Natalie Purdy. Again, you just missed her story, but we're still talking about it. You'll be able to go back and look at the broadcast once we're done. But the gentleman, well, the asshole that she was talking about that abused her, we ended the show last week, and towards the end of the show, she received an email. So she's going to tell you guys about the email that she received.
Gotcha. Thank you. So when you are a victim of a crime and someone goes to jail, you can get notifications. Yes. So it all depends on like what state you live in. So because we were in Virginia, it's the Virginia Department of Corrections, and their system is called NAVI. I know here in Georgia, it's Marcy's Law.
Okay. Okay.
And so they sent me an email and it says, you are registered with NAVI to receive notification on the status of, I don't even want to give him that credit.
Yeah, don't say it.
Well, it has his, and then it has his ID number, and it says, this is messages to inform you that he has had a parole review on March 22nd.
Day after my birthday.
Okay.
And from a careful study and consideration of all available information pertaining to the above referenced inmate, the parole board is not convinced at this time that this inmate is suitable for parole. Yes. Therefore, parole is not granted.
And now how many years has he served so far?
Ooh. Not enough.
No, yeah, not enough.
Because you said he got 30. You said 35.
He got 35.
Yeah, and
maybe
you
10.
Yeah, because you said what, 2012 or something like that. Yeah. So it's like 10. Like, okay, you need 20 more, boo.
Yes.
25 more.
And then 20 more.
And then 20 more.
Yes.
So that's
he'll
awesome.
be 85 when he's released.
Oh, well.
I hope he die now.
Yeah. Most people don't live that long in jail.
Yeah. I hope you die, whoever you are.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm with you too.
Yeah.
So he's been trying to get a hearing since he's been in there. Yes.
Because he probably feels like he don't deserve to be there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because his mama's fed him that.
Yes. He said that. And you know how just like you can do a victim impact statement, they give them a chance to address the court. And that's what he said.
He said that in the court.
Yes. And basically, before he did his statement, before the judge handed down the sentence, so he said, like when I go home,
He did, huh?
Yeah, he thought he was going home
Mm-mm.
that day.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Sorry, sir.
When he go
And he
home?
thought if not that day, it would be,
The next week.
yeah, it would be soon. Like
Oh, like I know I'm getting out here.
he's never been in jail before. He's never had a real
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah, because
So
no women never
if all,
testify.
no, they testified.
They
He just
settled.
got away with it
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
he figured, oh, I'll get away with this. They gotta lock me up. And
And were you really the first?
no, I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I don't
No.
think so
Because
either.
the way
no.
you said his
Yeah.
parents
Yeah, the way that they were like on
immediately
it.
reacted.
Yes, no.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of I just put myself in their shoes.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
God forbid if my son's got any. I know the law now,
Mhm.
but I'm saying before when I really wasn't studying it and I wasn't really looking at different cases and
Mhm.
stuff. If God forbid my kids had done something, I wouldn't know how to react right away.
Right.
I wouldn't know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so look, this is what we're gonna do. All right, you call the parent.
Right.
I'm gonna call the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You go over here and call the mental hospital.
Already had
Get
an
him in
outline.
there.
Yep.
Drive
Yeah.
him over there. Once we get him over there, we're talking on the phone with the lawyers on our way.
Oh Lord.
And then
yeah.
once we get from there, we're gonna go and check on the victim. But before we go check on the victim, before we go to the hospital, we'll go see her grandparents. And we'll get their feel and see where they're at.
Yep.
And then, okay, we got the green light. Now let's go to the hospital because now we get to see, will she live? What's the extensive injuries? You know, how bad is it?
Yep.
We'll pretend that we're concerned and caring. Who would think of all that in a matter of minutes?
Nobody.
So it had to have
They
happened
didn't.
before, so they prepared.
They didn't see my grandparents the next day. They saw them that night.
That night.
We want to come by. We want to see what the room looks like. We
Yeah.
want to see what the scene looks like. We
Yeah.
want to talk to you guys. And then by that next morning, that next day, then they were at the hospital.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
And he had already checked himself in to the mental hospital.
And obviously, he ain't crazy.
No,
He ain't
Mm-mm.
crazy
Not
at all.
they just know how to play the defense.
That almost make you wonder what the parents' upbringing and lives were like. If that's how you raising your son,
Mm-hmm.
who thought that was normal to even happen?
Some people just feel like I will protect my child at all costs. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Let me tell you, I have 2 boys, and I have told them, no matter what happens, don't ever hit a woman.
Uh-huh.
But my but is, if she hits you, you walk away.
Uh-huh.
But if she continues to hit you, then you hit her back.
Uh-huh.
But for you to just beat a woman, don't do that. Now, if you ask her to stop, you walk away. You know, they got some women like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I told them, she hits you, walk away.
Uh-huh.
Now, if she run up on you and hit you again, I try to tell them, don't hit her. Just push her off of you and tell her, look, let me leave.
Uh-huh.
If she don't let you leave and she hits you again, hit her back.
Now, I have told my boys, even when it comes to pushing her, that could be dangerous.
But if she's hitting them,
Oh,
though,
absolutely. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
just
I
pushing,
try
period,
to
no.
give them the scenario of she's hitting you, you trying to push her off, and how it can look of what can happen.
Yeah.
I push you, you hit your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the law of a dead person can't speak. So, but you're convicted by just that action of we were fighting.
Right.
Now she's gone. So now you're trying to explain that she was the aggressor, but you're still alive.
And
she's gone.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so we know that these things can happen. So the thing is for everybody to keep their hands to themselves.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
That's the perfect scenario.
Yes. Everybody keep your hands to yourself.
I mean, I know it is, but
I'm just
if a
saying,
woman's
We don't live in
constantly
that
hitting
world,
that-
but
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah, but I still try to tell my sons, just don't put your hands.
Oh yeah,
on
definitely.
them, period.
definitely.
Just try not to. Just
Yes.
walk away and go get in your car, go drive somewhere, just kind of get away,
Mhm.
But there's some of these
Oh,
women that I
yes.
hit them.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
come on now. I'm
Yes.
trying to walk
Oh,
away,
we've seen.
trying to leave it alone. Go ahead
Mhm.
about your
We've
business. Let
seen.
me go.
There's a lot of men that are not here today.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
For that reason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For that reason.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of times they didn't report it and they
They
didn't want to
don't.
talk about it.
mhm.
Because they're embarrassed.
Oh, yes, because the way society deems it,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I said, men can be victims as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to be going
Yeah.
on my Facebook.
No, it's okay. So men can be victims as well. It's not just women.
Mhm.
You know, they got some crazy women out there too who wants
Oh,
to have
absolutely.
control.
Absolutely.
So while she's pulling that up on her page, I just want to read this little paragraph here. It says, "What is domestic violence? Domestic violence can include being hit, kicked, beaten, raped, choked, threatened, controlled, or kept from getting what you need to live, such as food, medicine, or a home, by a spouse, boyfriend, partner, or ex." So just something as simple as, like, I've found out tonight that a friend, it was her partner would keep money from her, wouldn't give her money.
Wow.
That financial.
But at
abuse.
that time, we didn't think it was domestic abuse.
Mhm.
Right.
You just think she's just thinking, oh, okay, yeah. But if he's not even giving you lunch money, but he's eating out every day,
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm talking about them. But out every day,
Yeah.
then what does that say for you?
Mhm. Well, what they'll do and make it look like is, oh, you're not budgeting.
That's exactly
or-
what it was.
Yes. Or I'm trying to help you save the money. Never mind what I'm spending, but I'm trying to have the control over you and what you can do.
Mhm.
I don't want to give you money. I don't want you to have control over your own money because you might start saving it up and leave.
That part.
Now, see, I didn't even think about it like that. I'm just thinking about, you don't want me to have nothing.
Yeah, no. So let me tell you, when it is financial abuse, it's usually about trying that power and control. I don't want you to go anywhere.
Mhm.
I don't want you to go out to enjoy yourself without me.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want you to stash money over here because that could be money that you might end up leaving me with.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I'm never gonna come right out and say it.
Of course not.
So what I do is, no, I got your best interests at heart.
Mhm.
I don't understand because Lady KB, when we be going out, I be feeling kind of bad because she be, she get to eat what she want to eat and everything.
Mhm.
Look, she not eating healthy anyway. I'm trying to look out for you.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Whatever
They
it
come
is,
up with the
Turn
line.
against.
yes,
Yeah,
oh, yes.
try to turn it
and
against.
do it in such a way that you feel like it doesn't feel good, but it's almost like your parents
Yeah.
when they used to tell us certain things that we didn't understand, but you kind of knew that they had our best interests at heart. So yeah, your friend may be able to hang out late at night, but you can't because I don't want something to happen to you.
Right.
And then later on, something happens to your friend, and you're kind of like, kind of see where my parents were going with that,
Yeah.
I kind of see, I didn't like that they were being overprotective, but I see them and they went down that wrong path and nobody was there and nobody cared.
Right.
And so now you get in this relationship and you always go back to something that how you were raised and what you were taught. So you start thinking like, okay, but he does love me and he does buy me things. And if I really, really press the issue, he'll give me some money to go eat or whatever.
Right.
But I just don't have full control over the money. And I do spend a lot. And he did say he's saving up a lot because he wants to do more. He pays all the bills.
Right.
See.
Start justifying it.
you know, and again, like we
justified it. Oh,
like we
absolutely.
discussed last week, you know, y'all, I was horrible back in my day. I swear I was. I was horrible. I had a mouth on me. So I just, and like we talked about, you know, I grew up around domestic violence. Family members, I grew up around that. So I've always had in my mental, I will fuck you up if you put your hands on me because of what I saw. But you know, for some women, they were never around that, so they don't know. Or I mean, like you said, they make them think that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, because
So they
nobody
try to take that
goes in
control. Right.
saying,
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of times these men will seek out the strongest women. And see, you saw it. So you could already see,
Yeah.
know what it is.
I knew what it was. Yes.
A lot of women have never seen it,
Mm-hmm.
never experienced it, heard of it, said, "Oh, I will never be a victim. I wish would.
Yeah.
I live by the wish creed.
Yeah.
I wish."
Well, I mean, like I said when we talked about it,
But you
I am
saw
never
it,
gonna.
but you knew it.
But even still,
We're talking about people who've never seen it,
yeah,
and they don't know the signs.
right. But you still don't know what someone will do, and that's why I said
Yes.
I am never gonna say that a man or a woman, because I've been both with both. I'm never gonna say that they're gonna hit me. Because you never know what somebody is thinking and it can catch you off guard. Oh, but you better believe that's going to be their last damn time. And that's again because I grew up around domestic violence in my family. It wasn't my mom or my dad, but it was her sisters and brothers. They've experienced that kind of thing. Right. So, and that's probably one of the reasons I ain't with no men today, because I've always had in my mind, you hit me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to jail. Because I saw the signs from my aunt. I told you, I walked in a house and I witnessed them. And this was at a young age. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was 10 years old. I walked into my aunt's house. They got the telephone wires all over the house. They got blood all over the walls, blood all over the face. She cut up. My uncle's cut up. I saw this on a constant basis. So again, in my mind, I was like, you hit me, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say you're never gonna do it, but you best believe that's gonna be your first and your last time. Because when you go to sleep, I'm gonna set you on fire. I'm gonna burn you. I'm gonna do something. Because I never wanted to see myself the way I saw my aunt and uncle. You know, that was like, why? And it was almost like, why are you here? And they stayed together until he died. I was 10 at the time. When he died, I was in my 20s. And my aunt just passed away like maybe 8 years ago. So I saw this. And I just had in my mind, like, I will never let this happen to me. I will never let anybody hit me. No man, because then I was dating men. I was like, I'm never gonna, you're gonna die. And if I have to go to jail for killing you, for hitting me, I'm going to jail. Because it was just so many gruesome visions, and it's so crazy. I'm talking about it like I can picture what I saw.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I always said, I am never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard. Some women, it's hard for them to get out of that. But again, I was around it. So I can see the signs coming before it even, before it even started. Like, no, this ain't going to happen. Yeah. I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've never had one to say, oh, yeah, you are, or this. I've never had that. But it's hard when you don't know it. You know
when
what
you don't
I'm
know
saying?
it, you're not going to see it, because that's how they come in.
Yeah.
And they groom you for it. And like I said, we can find the reasons why. So in domestic violence, nobody comes in and they just hit you.
Oh, no, because then they know you're going to be gone.
But most people think that. They say, I don't even understand. How did she get in this relationship? How did she even end up like this?
Yeah.
Why was she?
What was she thinking?
Why was she wants somebody so bad to love her. She must got issues, daddy issues, man issues. No. These these people, and it's male and female,
Yep.
Mhm.
the very first thing that they do is they come in and it's an experience you've never experienced before.
Yep.
So they can win you over and reel you in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're that person that's going to be very charming to you and anyone around you.
Yep.
Any and everyone around you. Now there may be one or two people that they feel like that they can read before that person can read them
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
So they're going to either be standoffish from that person
Mm-hmm.
and build that wedge
Mhm.
and try to make you build the wedge, or they'll try to win them over. It just all depends on what they feel. But they are they know how to calculate, and they've been doing it for a long time.
Wow.
And so a lot of them are narcissists. You have some that have different other types of psychosis. And
Mhm.
so it just all depends on what their mental state is,
Mm-hmm.
but they know how and what to do more so than you. Like they've already figured it out beginning of the relationship. And so you might see the representative for 5 years, 5 whole years.
Wow.
Like he might be like doing other things financial.
Oh.
Nobody's gonna pick up on that and go, girl, you need to get out of that.
Mhm.
You living in a nice house, you got a nice car, you got nice things. Nobody's gonna be like, are you being financially abused?
Right.
Who's even gonna be thinking that?
Yeah, nobody.
They're thinking you got it good.
Yeah.
Even if he's the type that's telling you what to do, he's going to church. He loves the Lord.
We were
Girl,
a perfect
you
church
just
couple.
you just not being submissive to your husband.
Baby.
You just trying to be hard.
Yes.
You need to let that man be the man.
Yes. My ex was the pastor's arm bearer.
Yes. Oh, those are usually the ones.
And I was in the choir.
Either
girl.
or the deacons.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And a lot of pastors too. Yes.
Really?
A lot of pastors, sad but true. Yes, hard but fair. So yes, so a lot of times you don't see those things, and so it may not ever get physical, or it may be 5 years, it could be 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's just say you're in a relationship and you've been with this person for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you get in this heated argument,
Mm-hmm.
and they slap you.
Mm-hmm.
It gonna be a throw down. I know, but I get what you're saying, but yeah.
So your first initial shock is just like,
You hit me.
I can't believe.
now here it is. This is the typical.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. I'll never do it again.
Never do it again.
Then they bring you flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a dinner, it's the apology profusely sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Days on end, might be months on end.
Wow.
You're not even bringing it up anymore. But he needs to rebuild that trust. So he might be bringing it up and say, look, I know, you start arguing again and you say, look, I don't even want to argue because I don't want you to get upset and think about when I slapped you, because I didn't mean it and I'll never do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I know that, because we're forgiving.
Right. Yeah.
And you love him. And you're talking about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about 3 kids. You're talking about, everything is good one time. And you might go another 5 years and he might not ever put his hands on you.
Mm-hmm.
You might go for the rest of your life and he never put his hands on you again. It just all depends. But he could be doing the emotional and the psychological. Those wounds are so much more deeper
Then
than the
I was
physical.
gonna ask that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And those are the things that get people to stay more.
Mm.
And so when you say, why didn't she leave? It's because he has her mentally.
Yep.
Wow.
He has her mentally. And some women, boy, they take brutal beatings. Brutal. and go to the hospital and come back. And it's just so bad. I had a victim today. Like, oh God, to God, ugh, I pray for her. And she's out of it. And she has a child that's handicapped. And she said to me, she said, I see why people go back.
Y'all slacking.
She said, I see why people go back. Because she's just having a hard time trying to find the help.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but there's so many places out there to help, right?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She cut me that eye. Okay, help is not going to look like what you think help is going to look like. And unfortunately, that's what happens with a lot of victims. And a lot of times when people need help, we're in a society, we want it when? We want it now.
Now.
We want it now.
Mhm.
For 10 years, 15 years, I've been in this relationship and everybody been telling me I need to leave. And now when I leave, I think it's going to happen
They're going to be right
there. We're going to get you a house. We're going to get you this. We're going
Right.
to set you up. You out of there. We're going to make sure you don't go back.
Like the movies.
Yes, like the movies. And you have to understand that all that he tore down. So he held you back financially. So that could have been that you didn't work. Your credit is jacked up. Maybe he messed it up on purpose. Or maybe it's just that you haven't built up enough credit and you haven't had any history in the last 5-10 years. Even 2 years. We know that even you go a year without like really having anything on you gotta build that thing up.
Yeah, you do. You do.
You know, so even if it's a year, that person can destroy you. And that's why it's so important to get out, because the longer you stay, the worse it's going to get. And it's never going to get any better. And I'm here to tell you that. So all those lies that people say, oh, maybe he'll fix it. Maybe he'll do better. No, those are lies. Those are lies. And I need any victim that's in it, don't believe that.
Y'all hear that? Don't believe those lies.
Don't believe those lies. Now, when you get out, it'll be the best thing ever, because the first thing you're going to get is a peace of mind. And those eggshells will go away sooner. I mean, you're going to be looking over your shoulder, but just to not have that constant, that monkey on your back. You know what I mean? But it is a process. In certain states, that's why we try to raise awareness. We try to raise money. So many places need more shelters because it's not enough beds.
We thinking we doing a nonprofit resource center. I need to add that domestic violence shelter. I need to open one.
Yes, definitely.
We need to get together on that.
Absolutely.
We definitely need to get together.
There's so
on
many
that.
shelters that when these women call
A domestic
full.
violence house, like I want a house, like.
And shelters, they do all that they can do and trying to get them prepared so that they can find their own.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, I'm gonna tell you this, because I've dealt with this personally my own self. To lose a job is traumatic.
Right.
Period. I'm not talking domestic violence.
Yeah, anybody.
I'm talking about just to lose a job is trauma.
Yes.
And we see it when sometimes people go postal.
Yeah.
Yes, and we be like, oh, they went and shut up
the job, the warehouse.
And usually it's the boss, the supervisor, and stuff. And you say, what happened?
Right.
And you know, I'm not making an excuse, but this man, he just killed his wife and child because he got fired. And he said he felt like they were going to lose the house and everything. And so he killed them because he was like, it would be better than me failing and them us being homeless. They would be in a better place. I know. I'm definitely not saying go kill somebody. And
right.
You know, I serve a mighty God, but I'm just saying the trauma and what people go through mentally of thinking that I can't go on, I can't provide for my family, what's going to happen to me, and things like that. So you take that type of trauma, and I'm saying that to say this when people don't really understand domestic violence. You take a victim that she met this man, and I'm just saying man, but it could be woman. She met this man, and when she met him, she wasn't at a low point. Sometimes people are at a low point, but she wasn't at a low point. So when she met him, he fell head over heels. Oh my God, you're gorgeous. oh, you're so smart, you're intelligent,
Mhm.
you know, I just want to be with you. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Mhm.
I never would think I would be with someone like you. And he built her all the way up. And this goes on for like 6 months, a year. He just praises her. He praises her in front of everyone else.
Mhm.
And he has her thinking this. Then one day he says to her, and she said, what's wrong? I mean, I don't mean no harm, but putting on a little weight there. What's the first thing you're going to think? You're going to believe
I
him.
need to lose
I'll be
weight.
like, oh my God.
You're going to believe him because
Right.
this is your best friend.
Mhm.
He's not just your lover. He is your best friend. He's learned all of your likes, your dislikes, your
Mhm.
fears,
Yep.
Mhm.
your insecurities, all of those things. When you say, oh, I feel like I got a low pulse, she's like, oh, baby, I love that. You look sexy.
Right.
Mhm.
Don't let nobody tell you different.
Mhm.
Now that he's telling you you're gaining a little bit too much,
Mhm.
you're looking fat.
Right.
You really need to work on that.
So now he's starting the tear down
The
process.
tear down process. Then he'll say, you're going to wear that skirt? They say, yeah, this is the one I wore when I met you. Yeah, but you weren't as big as you are now. And you like a fat slut.
Oh.
And he might not even say it so harshly at
Yeah.
first. But women and men, we need that feedback.
Yeah.
We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know how you feel. And so we're going to ask you, like, no, tell me. And you say, no, I don't want to tell you because I don't want to hurt your feelings. No, I want you to tell me. I'd rather you tell me and I know than you not tell me and worry about hurting my feelings because I know you're going to tell me the truth.
Right.
I know you're going to tell me the truth. And so he goes, yeah, well, we don't have sex like we used to because it's kind of like a turnoff because it's not like it used to be. So now you really feel fat. Now you really feel, and maybe you even having health issues, or whatever it is. And he's saying, yes, just, and you're trying different things. And he says, I never really liked it, but I didn't want to tell you.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you want to tell me? Because I loved you as a person. I loved you for this, or I loved that about you, but I didn't like that. So I'm just not really that into you. As a matter of fact, I really want to stay with you, but I'm probably going to start seeing other people. I know women like that are in that type of relationship right now, where the man is like stepping out and he's still going, and he might still be home, but he's letting her know, you're not it. And at the same time being abusive because now I know I have the power and control. And where are you going? And you don't have the money. Where are you going?
Right.
And now I tell you that you're stupid. So, you're never going to get it. Nobody's going to be hiring you. So now you take all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I left. I'm at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel secure. I'm so insecure about myself, my looks, my knowledge, everything. I haven't worked in 5 years. I had trouble filling out the application. I'm not savvy on the computer. I'm looking at this long list because when they do the job thing, they put this long exclusive list, and you only can pick out like 3 things, and then it says, and we'll disregard the degree and all the other stuff if you have 5 years or 10 years of experience, and you're like, I got 1, and I haven't done it in 6 years, and you take all of that, and now I feel fat. And I don't have my clothes because I left with everything I had, just what I had on, right?
Wow.
So now the shelter gave me an outfit, and I don't really feel good in it. And it's like something they got from the thrift store or whatever. And I go in my hair, and I'm like, oh my God. And I get in front of you, and and you say, hey, Natalie, so you're applying for the job, and looking at my resume, and you're like, tell me about yourself. Well, I know it looks, you see, I haven't worked in a long time because I was married and my husband was working, and he was taking care of everything. And now I have my 3 kids, and I need to. I'm trying to like get back on my feet, and right now I'm just trying to like find a place to live. And I mean, I know I don't really have the experience, but I can learn. I mean, if I really try, like if you really want to give me a chance, right now, we're staying at a shelter, and they said we could stay there for a little while longer, but I need to find a job. Okay, thank you, Natalie.
Right. We'll be in touch.
Yeah. That's it, because Natalie ain't about to get this job because you ain't bringing that drama over here.
Right.
Yeah, Natalie ain't about to get
now
this job.
Who can apply for the next job?
Yeah.
Because everything that he's put in your head that's been like a broken record.
Yeah.
It's still playing, and now it's on fast speed.
Yeah.
It's just coming at you. And you're giving up, and you're feeling suicidal. He's calling you and saying, you can fix this if you just come back.
If you just come home. Yep.
And I won't do it again.
And
That's what he's saying.
And you're going to go back.
And the kids are like, Mom, this is our room.
Right.
This is it. Why can't we go
Why
home?
can't we go home? Yeah.
All the other kids are here. We don't have our toys. We don't have our things. We don't have anything. And we're all 3 of us, the 4 of us in this one room. Mom, you're stupid. Dad said you're stupid. Dad said that you don't listen.
Right.
If you just listen to him, he wouldn't hit you.
Right.
That part. And so even if I do, you tell me, but you know what, Natalie? If the shelter tells you that you got to go because you've exhausted your time there and you haven't found a job and everything, you can come and stay with me. How long can I stay?
Right. Right.
Wow.
So it makes it easier to go back. Because that is, I have to deal with that, but it's hard. It's hard. And so we just have to find a way that when they leave to know that when you go back, it's going to be worse.
Yep.
Because he has to make sure that you don't have that strength to do it again.
Right.
And so the abuse is going to be worse. Everything's going to be times 10. The verbal abuse, the emotional, everything. Him being controlling. He's definitely going to watch your every move because he wants to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Right.
And if that means that he might even take your life, he might take your life.
Wow. That is crazy.
It's crazy. So I've told you the signs of domestic violence.
Right.
Whew.
Everybody right.
Yeah, look.
Everybody
Let's take a sip.
Woo. Those signs are actually more visible when you think about it, right? When now that I've broken it down, it makes it easier for you to see it and maybe even see it with other people.
Right.
And hopefully those people out there that may be experiencing it are now like that light bulb, like,
oh,
She's
wow.
talking about
Yeah,
me.
she's talking about me.
Yeah, check. If you're checking all these boxes, that self-assessment. That self-assessment made me say, no, I couldn't marry Kevin. And I didn't even know about the crazy part.
Wow.
But my self-assessment was like, I was checking all the boxes of no, why not to do this?
Right.
You're rushing the relationship. You're in love already. You
Too soon.
Too soon. You want to take care of everything. You don't want me to do this. You want to give me this. You want to give me that. Like, there's no prince knight in shining armor.
Right.
Like, no. What's behind that? Let me see you angry.
Yeah.
Let me see, like, really, let me talk to some more people. Yeah, we be so wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
We ain't trying to talk to an ex. No, let me talk to an ex. I want to hear what she
She
got to say.
Right.
Yeah,
I
about
can
you.
decipher the jealousy
Right.
Right.
as opposed to, let me tell you, sometimes you could be with a guy and say, look, we grew apart, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or he was boring and I needed
Yeah.
this, or I
Yeah.
needed that, or he needed that. And I need, when you really grow up and you can be in that relationship, you can say, look, that was a good
Mhm.
dude. He just wasn't the dude for me.
Right.
But yeah.
Or you can make that phone call and she say that is crazy.
Hey, crazy girl,
Crazy
run.
Get away
hell,
as
run,
fast as you
run,
can.
and don't
run,
look
run. Don't look back.
Don't look back.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
So those signs, those are those signs.
Mhm.
Let's talk about sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking. Yes.
Woo, woo, woo.
Mm, mm, mm.
Sex trafficking is much harder. And I say that because the way that they come after you with sex trafficking, a lot of times you're not gonna know, you ain't gonna tell nobody.
Right.
And we're seeing it a lot with kids.
Right.
So let me tell you what it looks like for a kid. If it's a video game, which we see it a lot,
Yeah.
if it's a video game, I can tell your household from the game. It's so easy as a perpetrator. If Johnny comes in at 3:30 every day and gets on the game,
Mhm.
what does that tell me?
He's home by himself.
Most likely.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, he's by himself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If he's not by himself, you're still not paying him no attention.
Right.
Johnny on the game from 3:30, he only taking breaks to go get himself something to eat, go to the bathroom, and come back. And maybe I might hear somebody say, it's 10 o'clock, go to bed.
Good. Right.
Johnny might sneak back on the game every night at 11:30 because I know that's when you go to bed or you're gone or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So that pattern lets me know how to approach this kid. Kids, you would be surprised, even boys talk a lot. I've seen it even with my grandsons. This is how it goes.
They would tell it all.
They're playing the game. So you're winning. Oh, you are just a sucker, and they're going back and forth and stuff. And they say, oh, you're a crybaby. Where's your mother? My mother's not here. My mother's at work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You better get ready to go to bed. I don't have to go to bed. My mom said I can stay up as long as I want to, just as long as I don't make a lot of noise. So I got to turn it down some.
Just told it all.
Telling it all. Well, where's your dad? My dad's not here. My mom and dad are divorced.
Right.
My mom said he's an asshole,
Yep.
He doesn't even come and see us. And my mom said she can't even she only got me this game, but she can't buy me none of the other games because he's not even giving her money.
Yep.
Kids talk.
They do. Now, see, I would never think
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
That
You're not
they're
a perpetrator.
talking.
Oh, you mean the kids?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that they would
Oh,
talk
that's
like
how
that.
that's how they engage in them because they're doing something that they like.
Right.
So when you do something you like, you're more free.
Right.
If you and I were shopping, I love to shop, so I might talk more freely. Or we're having wine.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, oh girl, 2 more glasses. I'm like, girl, let me tell
Right.
you,
Right.
the tea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So that's the same thing with kids. And so with
Man, so is that easy to
It's that
traffic
easy.
kids from
Yeah.
a video game?
from a video
Yeah.
game. Do you know a couple of years ago when we had the Super Bowl here,
Mhm.
one of the video games, one of the guys who created the video game, he got arrested for sex trafficking. It's the Oriental guy. Yeah, and he was the one who created the game.
So was the game geared towards sex trafficking, or was
No,
it?
but he knew how easy it was. And then he came.
But why did they arrest him? Because he made the game.
No. He just happened to be one of the makers of the game. I'm just telling you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he came here during Super Bowl because
Uh-huh.
he knew that was the best time and the easiest way to do the
Sex trafficking.
Because
Yeah.
there's people in from all over the world.
All over the world.
And they're not paying attention.
Right.
And so that's when shout out to Mayor Keisha. That's when she started putting the announcements in the airport, and she started doing all of the, every 5 minutes. It was on a rotation.
Yeah.
Like in the airport, every 5 minutes, it was talking about sex trafficking. She had all of the billboards in the airport. And
Yeah, I
everything.
remember that.
They had a full task force, and they ended up arresting
so many people. Super Bowl. I remember that.
Yeah, they had a whole big.
Yeah, they had a whole big thing. I
They
remember
planned
that.
it for a year before.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
how bad they knew that it was, and it was. It
Well,
was
Atlanta is
exactly
one
that.
of the highest places
Yes.
for sex trafficking.
Absolutely, sex trafficking
Unfortunately.
and domestic violence. Yes, and so what they do is a lot of these perpetrators with sex trafficking, they even pretend to be their age.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah. Now I've never seen it with a game, but of course I'm a Law and Order, all those FBI. I'm a big fan of all those shows.
Yes.
And I've always seen it on the shows where they do it on the computer, like if the kids are on a computer. But I've never seen it done through a video game.
Oh, I should have brought you
yeah.
the articles that I had.
Yeah,
So
I never
there
seen
was-
it through the
there
video
was this,
game.
a couple of years ago, there were 3 boys. They were all in different states,
Uh-huh.
and these people were just on the video games trying to find somebody. So one boy, all of the boys, they promised them things. And again, you can tell how they are by
Mhm.
talking to them. So they found out that, they didn't have everything they wanted, and they promised them, and we'll get you this and we'll get you that.
Mhm.
One boy thought he was going for a tournament, a gaming
A
tournament.
game tournament.
Oh.
Okay.
And they said, we're gonna, you know what, you're the best. You beat everybody, which he probably did have a high score.
Right.
Mhm.
So they said, we want you to come out to this gaming tournament. And they sent him the bus ticket. And he ran away from home, and his parents, he was 17. So they figured, okay, he's
Just
almost 18.
yeah,
he's gone. So they were like, okay. The other boy, they promised him things. He wrote his mom a letter and said, don't look for me. I've run away. I'm not coming back.
Wow.
Yeah, because he's thinking that these people are
Gonna take care of him. Right.
They probably paid for a couple of games.
Right.
For him to keep playing.
Right.
Oh, you don't have money? Oh, your mom doesn't have the money? All right, I'll pay for you to play every night.
Right.
So he, so all 3 of these boys from different states ended up going to Florida in this rural area. And they met these boys, picked them up, and they brought them to this rundown trailer that was like way in the back of this, like in a rural area. So nobody really paid it any mind.
Right.
And they had them in there, and it was 4 men and I believe 1 woman.
Wow.
They had these boys in there for a year.
Jesus.
Yes.
How did they find them?
A neighbor. If you see something, say something.
Yeah.
A neighbor saw 2 of the boys outside, like they let them come outside.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I've never seen
Where
them.
they come from?
Yeah, no kids.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them go to school.
Ah.
And so she called in for them to do like a wellness check. And when they did, and they got there, thank goodness for the law enforcement that had that hindsight, like, wait a minute, something's not right.
Mhm.
They said that it was like deplorable
Living
arrangement.
conditions.
Yes.
Oh wow.
And then they said to one of the men who came to the door, they said, who's that? He said, that's my son. And he said, well, when's his date of birth?
Boom.
Oh.
And he hadn't studied that. So
Yeah.
he got found out.
Oh.
There was another one where it was a young girl, and they got her to leave the house. She thought she was going with she was like 13. This was just recent. She thought she was leaving the house to go with a boy that was like 14 or 15, and it was a grown man. And he ended up kidnapping her. This was just like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh wow. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and he had her in a shed.
Mm-mm.
Oh, God.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
Was it on the news?
Yes,
I didn't see that.
It was on the news here. He
Wow.
had her in a shed. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And this girl was like 13 or 14, and he'd already raped her and everything.
Jesus.
Had her
Wow.
padlocked in a shed.
Wow. And what I want to say is, like, I pulled up this little thing on sex trafficking, human trafficking.
Yes.
What baffled me is
Mhm.
that it says, I'm going to read this really quick. It
Yep.
says, victims in various service industries whose labor is exploited under the presence of the actual or implied coercion fraud, or force with the assumption that they are bound to their jobs through involuntary servitude, forced labor, violence, peonage, and debt bondage.
You
But
ready? You want me to break it down?
wait, I want you to break it down. But what baffled me is they have a list.
Yes.
Like, so they say hospitality, and they say
Number one.
service-based labor trafficking victims in hospitality industry, including hotels, casinos, and restaurants. I mean, like, then they have cleaning services,
Yes.
landscaping, sales crews, carnivals, restaurants, health and beauty, like extractives, constructions for factories, fishing.
Yes.
Like, who thinks about trafficking for fishing?
Because with the fishing, they're labor trafficking now.
Oh, okay. So that's what just kind of got me, the
Yes.
different areas.
Now, hospitality goes both ways. So a lot of these hotels make so much money. A lot of motels you see that are
Yeah.
privately owned.
Uh-huh.
Know that that section over there, in that one building, maybe they have 3 buildings. That one building over there, that's exclusively for sex trafficking.
Like my mother's like,
Yes, that's exclusive, and they pay me, and those are those rooms. And one girl was just talking about how she ended up getting saved because somebody saw her standing outside and the way she was dressed and everything, and they kind of knew that she was being sex trafficked, and they called, and the police got there in enough time that she was able to say, yes, I want to go home. She was a teenager. She had ran away from home. And that story was just on. I got to find the name of it so I can get it to you so you can see it. But she talked about how they kept her and how she ended up coming home, and now she's home, but she still has so much that she's going through.
Drew, yeah, I can imagine.
That's trauma.
Now,
one I can see is health and beauty. I can definitely see that. Models, fashion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna buy you these clothes. We want you to model and
Mhm.
things like this. With that girl, she talked about how she was talking to a guy online, and she thought they were running away together.
Oh.
So he picked her up. He picked
The
her
actual
up.
guy.
The actual guy. They've been talking online,
Mhm.
and he picked her up, and she got in the car. And when she got in the car, he said, "Yeah, I know we said we're going to Kentucky or wherever they was going."
Mhm.
He said, "But we're not going there."
Mhm.
She just was like, "Okay, what?" And he drove. Didn't drive her, but so far, but he drove, and they got to a hotel, and she went willingly because we've been talking
yeah.
for so long that I'm still thinking like, okay, well, where we going?
Mhm.
They go into a hotel, and when they get in the room, a guy comes in there, and he tells her, "We're gonna tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and if you don't listen to us, we'll kill you."
Mhm.
And he punches her in her face.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
He said, "So you better," and he tells her right then and there. She didn't even say no. He said, "You're gonna get with the program
Right now.
and right now." And from that point, they had somebody come in there, and they had sex with her,
Mhm.
and that's when they start trafficking her immediately,
Oh damn.
right then and there. And she thought she was running away with this guy that she met online, and he was the same age as her. They ended up arresting all of them because she said that she couldn't keep track of how many men.
Mhm.
That's how many it was.
Oh
But
my
she
God.
said they would move her,
Mhm.
and she would just try and find anything. The investigator said that they were amazed at how much she remembered. So she just tried to keep remembering like where they were moving her and what they were doing.
Mhm.
But they have so many different ways of sex trafficking people.
Mhm.
Like, especially if you're foreign and you don't really speak English, they will have the men come in and the men don't talk to you.
Mhm.
They
Right.
now have it where they'll have poker chips, and they write on the poker chips. I know I just had this training, and they'll have like a Q
Mhm.
on it, and it may be all chips. That means that's a quickie.
Wow.
Then they have another one that says like um half. That means he gets like a half an hour. And then one that might say a one on it or Y. That means like he gets the full treatment. He do whatever he want to do. Yes. And then they give them condoms. But if I give you 5 condoms and one broke, but you don't have the money, then you're going to get a beat, because I got to make sure you're not trying to keep money.
Oh Lord.
So you might have to end up having sex without a condom, because you don't want to get in trouble for not having the money for the amount of condoms that you were given. Yeah. So it's just, it's such, and it's all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the money. Drug dealers, you don't see a lot of people getting arrested for drugs anymore.
No, you don't.
Maybe pills,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
if they can catch them, but
Yeah.
you don't see that. Drug dealers have now gone over to sex trafficking,
Oh God.
because you can sell a person over and over.
And with drug, it's just that one time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just that. Well,
And you're not
you
getting
will
as
have
much
repeat
time with
customers.
sex
Yeah,
trafficking.
Yeah.
right.
You're
With
not
that
getting that
product,
same
that product.
sentence with
Hate to
sex
say
trafficking
product,
as
but-
you get with drugs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you got gangs and cartels that are in the game as well for sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the labor trafficking. So they bring in all these people that are trying to get over from the border, and they put them all in one house, and they tell them, if you want money, you're going to go out here and you're going to go on this fishing boat, and you're going to fish all day. And I might not even feed you. But you need money to send back to your family. And at the same time, who you going to tell if you're here illegally? ISIS? Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Wow.
You'll be deported.
I remember like around that time that they had Super Bowl and they did all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the white van syndrome was going around. And I was like, man, so they're talking about it. So guess what? They're not going to be in a white van now.
No.
They're going to paint them. They're going to be in black. I don't go around no vans.
They're taking
And
people
V would
in
tell me,
cars, though.
yeah, I know. But
Mhm.
I'm saying back
Oh, back
then.
then. Oh, back then.
Yeah,
yes.
they were like the
absolutely. You
vans,
always
the
make sure
vans.
that, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the vans. And I would go to a store and I just park, and V was like, stop parking next to them vans.
Yes.
Stop doing that. And I was
Yes.
like, girl, they don't want me. They're going to get me back.
Yes.
They're going to get me back after I finish cussing them out and fighting. But, it was just like, you couldn't go anywhere. You can't, like, they were taking people like at Walmart.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, I say to people, because...
Wait, before you say that, I found out from Sun tonight
Yeah.
that the underground has a underground where there's sex traffic.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yes.
I found that he just said that.
That's
And
correct.
he was another one that said Walmart also.
Mm-hmm.
But he said the underground downtown
Yes. Mhm.
has a underground,
That's correct.
and that's where they do sex trafficking.
Yeah. Mhm.
I've been to the underground one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't like it.
Mhm.
It almost reminded me of our river walk in New Orleans,
Okay.
but it was bigger, nicer, and more cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like, oh, I ain't never coming back here again, and I've never been back down there.
Mhm.
But to know that I was once in a place,
Yes.
where that was right under my feet,
Yes. Mhm.
that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary because they could have came up and snatched me, and it was a whole bunch of girls. It was like 5 of
Yes.
us,
Mhm.
Wow.
and beautiful girls.
Yes.
So they could have came up and snatched us, and what were we gonna do?
Yes.
Nothing.
And a lot of times, a lot of sex trafficking is just like domestic violence. Sometimes they're not snatching.
They'll invite you to dinner and do all
Yeah,
that
different
stuff, and
things.
then
Yeah. that you think like, oh, okay, this is, this
Right.
seems right. This doesn't
Right.
seem, he gave me his card, he gave me this, he gave me that. Yeah, like he's in a nice car. Like I'm not thinking that he's one of the people,
Right.
Also, what I was gonna say was a lot of times when it comes to training, whether it's about sexual assault, sex trafficking, domestic violence, and intimate partner violence, I see so many parents and so many schools that are saying, we don't want it. We don't want to talk about it. It's not going to happen to us. And we don't want to talk about that. And kids are not ready for that right now. And that's too advanced for them. But guess what you're giving them? You're giving them technology.
Right.
You're giving them a cell phone.
Right.
You're giving them a tablet. You're
Right.
giving them these video games, and you haven't had the conversation.
Right.
And you're not checking back up on them.
Right.
Because you can have the conversation, but I can tell you some of the signs. But if I say to somebody, say to a kid, look, if somebody says something wrong to you, you let me know.
Right.
What would be wrong? Define wrong.
You haven't given them
Define wrong.
examples of what's wrong.
What is that guy talking about? Mom, that's a boy. He said he's 10. He didn't say anything wrong. He was just telling me that his favorite color is the same as mine.
Right.
That didn't seem wrong. So we're not really diving in to have that conversation of what that looks like.
Right.
But we're saying we don't want to have a conversation with them about anything wrong. Of course, you don't want to come in with the harshness of it, but you do need to prepare them and say, look, there are crazy people and they'll come in and this is how they'll go about it. There was a little girl that her mother had a phone, and she would give the little girl the phone to play with when she was busy doing certain things. The perpetrator had come in on a kiddie game. One of the little kiddie games, and had came in, because these hackers, that's what they do.
Yep.
He had came in on the kiddie game and started chatting with the little girl. Do you know every time the little girl would be on the kiddie game, he would come in and chat with her? He had taught that little girl how to go in and change her mother's password. Because these hackers are much more savvy than we are.
Yes.
And he taught her how to keep changing it. And the mother kept trying to figure out, like,
why she couldn't get in.
What's wrong with my He had went in and found her email and everything. And then he told the little girl how to take the parental rights off. Okay, go up there and swipe left, hit that button. And the little girl was doing it. And this man was coming in on the video game. And the father, I forgot how they found out, but it was the father who realized it and ended up working with investigators and getting that guy to catch him.
That don't make no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. There was a young girl. She was on I don't know if she was on something. I don't know if it was Snapchat or whatever she was. And this man came in and act like he was a kid. And he got her to get her parents to take her to the mall. And when they took her to the mall, he met her, but he didn't he came up to her enough and said, I'm going to leave something for you. And he left a book. And inside the book, he had cut the pages out and had a burner phone. She had a cell phone, but her parents restricted her. And every night at 10 o'clock, she had to give them the phone. So he said, that way with the other phone, we can talk whenever we want to without your parents taking the phone. And how they found out was one night she was talking with him on the burner phone. And the father, she fell asleep with the phone in her hand. You know how we do?
Yeah.
And the father walked past and was like, wait a minute, I took her phone. Because it's 10 o'clock, it's late. He said, where'd she get that phone from? And he took the phone. And he said that the messages that man wrote to his daughter, he would not have said to a one-night stand.
Wow.
So dude was grooming her.
He was
to
grooming her, and
accept that.
yeah. So he set it up, and they ended up arresting him and everything. But I mean, it happens all the time because there was another teenage girl where she snuck out the window, and the father heard her. He heard something, and when he got up, he came out the front door. She had snuck out her window. He said she was going down the street, and he was almost had to like chase her down the street. He said by the time he got there, it was a car down the street. He said this was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and she was about to get in the car. And he would have never seen her again. You wake up in the morning and try and figure out where she's at. These children may think that they want it. They have no idea.
They don't know.
They have no idea. They may entice them with certain things and promises and dreams, and whether it's I'll buy you this, or I really like you, I think you're pretty, and things like this, but they still have no clue what the evil that lies out there.
But I mean, I we're gonna have to end this in a little bit. But my question is like, what do you think is leading because you have parents. Ask them, because most of the time, if you're a good child, you're doing what you're supposed to do, parents will give you.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think is really making them say, oh, I'm going with this man? Like, what? I mean, I can give you money. I can get, but
The attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about it. Okay. Your parents could give you so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the boy come along and give you $2, and you're like, oh my God,
I
got
me $2. Yeah.
And your mother's like, I give you $10 every week.
Right.
It's a different type of attention. A different type of attraction.
Yep.
Right.
And they know that. And then we're living in a society where it's more about the attraction, the being seen, the being accepted, the being special, because we have social media. You see more celebrities on social media.
Yep.
And in the spotlight that you don't even have to look on E! Tonight. Yeah, then nobody look at that anymore.
Right.
You don't have to be saying, I can't wait to see BET Awards. I can't wait to see the MTV Awards and see what they're doing. You're not even looking at National Enquirer.
Mm-mm.
Because all you have to do is pick up your phone, and you can look on Instagram, you can look on Twitter, you can look on Black Twitter, you can look on Facebook, you can look on so many things, and you see them and their content. So you're like, oh, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm a young girl and a guy is talking to me online and he's pretending to be my age, and he says, you know what? You remind me of the B. Girl, Beyonce ain't got nothing on you. And Beyonce's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, he said I remind him of Beyonce. And maybe I'm light skinned like her. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. Just going crazy. And he's like, we could be like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Oh, they're the ultimate couple. Oh my God,
Yeah.
So it does not take much.
It doesn't.
Wow.
It doesn't take much. You see these kids that leave at home, they're meeting these strangers out, they're giving them all the information. They all probably, asking as many questions. They're just giving it to them like diarrhea of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So your mother, does she work? Where does she work at? What does she do? Is she nice to you? Oh, she's not nice to you. That's a shame, because I can tell you're a really nice young lady. How? By talking to me on a video game?
Right.
But, seeking that attention.
Mm-hmm.
Seeking that attention. I see little girls all the time. I'm like, hi, pretty little girl. And they're like, we're not telling them enough.
Yeah.
Hey, handsome.
Right.
You're smart. You're really intelligent.
Yeah.
Without, I don't know them, but feed into these children.
Right.
Yeah.
Feed them even more of what they're seeking.
Yes.
And let them know you're smart. I don't care what nobody tells
said.
you.
Yep.
Right.
I don't care that you failed that test. Maybe that's not your strength, but you're a smart young man. And you can do it.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody tell you different. And you got to tell them every day.
Yeah.
you're somebody. You're somebody important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, feed into these kids.
You is
So true.
kind.
You are kind.
Right.
You're
You
important.
is smart.
Yes, tell
Important.
my
You
kids
is
tell me a little bit. Yes,
important.
I'm
Yeah.
somebody important. I can learn. I will learn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, guys, we're gonna have to shut it down for tonight.
Yes.
But don't be surprised if Miss Natalie will be popping in every now and then, hanging
Right.
out in the den,
Love
Hang out in the
to,
den with
hanging
us.
out
I
in
love
the den
I
with
love the den.
us.
I love the
And
den.
we got a
Yeah,
spotlight this.
yeah, we gotta
Before we
highlight
leave.
this book. This is your book, right?
That's an anthology. I mean, yes, that was the
Yes,
first
she's
one.
in this anthology. It's called Surviving Her.
Mhm.
So where can they find this?
They can find that on Amazon.
Amazon.
They can also hit me up on social media, and I'll autograph it and send it out to them.
Yeah, I see you gave us this dry book. Ain't no autograph.
Oh, no.
You know, so
Ooh,
it's
hard to
it's
get back.
Surviving
Huh.
Her. You can find it
So
on
take it back.
Amazon. Y'all get
Uh-oh.
this book. I'm gonna read it and we're actually gonna discuss it.
So give me mine.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, because you all right, I feel better. So mine was it was autographed. So she gave me the wrong book. I was
Both of
about
them are
to denounce our friendship.
It's autograph.
Okay.
So I was about to denounce our friendship for real.
She's about to
But
talk about some bad.
yes, y'all check this book out, Surviving Her. Again, you can get it on Amazon and where else?
They can contact me.
You can contact
if they want an autograph
Natalie. So Natalie, tell people how they can find you.
So you can find me on Facebook, of course. And I love Facebook because I get to talk to people.
Tell them your name on Facebook.
So
You
on
got-
Facebook, it's Natalie Purdy. And you can find me on Instagram. It's survivors_voice. You can find me on LinkedIn under Natalie Purdy. You can find me on Twitter under Natalie Purdy and the number 2. And what else? And you can email me, nataliepurdy@yahoo.com. So that's NATALIEPURDIE.
And do you have, lastly, before we get out of here, do you have any information for victims?
Yes.
As far as like shelters or places that you might know of that they could go, or again, maybe you can just contact
You
Natalie.
definitely contact me. I don't care where you are. Doesn't matter what state. You let me know the area that you're in. I'll put you in contact with the closest shelter in your area, the closest domestic violence shelter, resources. Of course, you can dial 1-800-799-SAVE,
Mhm.
which is the National Domestic Violence Hotline number.
Tell them that number again.
It's 1-800-799-SAVE.
Okay.
So you can dial that number. But definitely you can contact me no matter what state you're in, and I'll get you the resources that you need. Whether you need shelter or whatever it is that your needs are.
Okay.
But definitely I can that's what I do. That's my main forte is people contacting me and trying to get them the help. There are some people, sometimes they're trying to leave, they're trying to get to another state. My goal, I pray that in the very near future that we can change the way that we access help for victims that need to get out of state. Right now, a lot of people don't realize that Greyhound, if you're a runaway and you run to a different state, and let's just say, a lot of young kids run to New York, right?
Right.
And they get there and they're like, oh, they realize how cruel and dangerous it can be. Immediately. And especially when you get to that Penn State Port Authority.
Mhm.
So they want to go back home,
Mhm.
but you don't have any money.
Right.
Maybe you had enough to get there, but you don't have any money to get back.
Right.
Greyhound will let you ride for free to get back home.
Really?
Yes.
How long has that been going on?
1-877-799-SAFE.
Yes, you got it right there. 1-800-799-SAFE.
1-800.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, they don't have that for domestic violence. And that's what we need to change. There's nothing out there to help
1-800.
domestic
1-800.
violence
Okay.
victims to be able to get somewhere else.
Mm.
So we have to try and rely on a lot of the nonprofit organizations and shelters to try and help them to get to where, to get back home. But a lot of times, I think one of the things I did not really touch on was the isolation, not just isolating you from friends and family and coworkers, but usually always trying to suggest to move you to another state where you have nobody. Because that makes it so much harder to leave.
Yeah.
It's not like I can say, oh, my sister lives over here, so let me go to her house. It's difficult if your sister lives on the West Coast and he has you on the East
On
Coast.
the East Coast.
Wow.
That plane ticket is a whole different beast, or that
Yeah.
bus ticket, or whatever it is.
Yes.
That's a lot. So,
Well, you guys feel free to contact Miss Natalie Purdy on Facebook and Survivor_voice
yes.
on Instagram, and 1-800-799-SAFE for anybody that needs a safe place to go, a safe place to stay. Okay. Thank you all for joining the den. Coming in the den, hanging out with us in the den. We might have to make Miss Natalie our other host on this show.
We might have to.
We might have to. But join us next week. We will be on location at a mansion in Douglasville that's newly opening. So we will be broadcasting from there next week. Talk about that.
Hey.
So I want to give a shout out and a thanks to Solid State Studios for allowing us to do our podcast here. If you're interested in doing a podcast or you want to do a podcast, you can hit us up at the ladiesden23@gmail.com. This is also a recording studio, so you can do a lot here. It's a lot. It's a big studio. It's huge. So, you can come and take a tour with us on Thursday nights. We start at 7. So if you want to come a little early, you can let us know. We'll give you a tour of the studio. And again, if you're interested, you hit us up at the ladiesden23@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Miss Natalie. We appreciate you opening up and reliving your story.
Absolutely.
So, and I guarantee you've helped someone.
I hope so. I did not mention, one thing I did forget to mention the story. If you just don't want to hear us talking, you don't want to hear our voices, you can see my story on 3 different television shows.
Really?
So there's Dates from Hell, Say Yes or Die. And my episode is season 2, episode 6. And that's on the ID channel. And then there's I Dated a Psycho. That's on Lifetime Movie Network, and that's season 1, episode 5.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I think. And then there is
I saw
Your
that
Worst Nightmare, and that's also on the ID channel, and that's the longest one. But really,
and there's
my story,
whole story.
Yes.
Hopefully, it'll be a movie next.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put me in it. Put me in it.
Yes.
I need my first acting gig. I need. And I have someone if you want them to write your story, but I have someone who can do that for you. Yeah. All right, y'all. We out of here. Thanks for chilling with us in the den. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Yes.
Peace out.
Bye. At the ladies' den, We need a song.